But today, I want to talk about something and go down some things. Pastor Reed did not enhance me to do this. He didn't say what he wanted me to do. He allowed me to pray and to seek his face. And today, I want to continue what he said about new beginnings and what does it take to start new beginnings. And it's called transformations and new beginnings. And I'm going to use Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. But I ask him, give you an assignment, read all of Romans 12 in your free time. I'll tell you why to read it, because inside of that, it gives a lifestyle, it gives what a living sacrifice is to do this work as believers. It tells about some of this, some of that, some are preachers, some are teachers, some are prophets, some do this, some do that. And although there are many different offices, we still are one body doing the work. So I'm going to read Romans 12. It says, therefore I urge you, from the NIV version, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in the view of God's mercies, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm separating that for a reason. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind. Then you will be able to test it and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Can we all say we've all been on that journey trying to figure that out? Can we agree with that? It's a process, right? Yes. Okay. We're going to read what Solomon says in Proverbs. Proverbs 4. I'm going to read that 7 verses of that. It said, listen, my sons, to a father's instructions. Pay attention and gain understanding. I give you sound learning, so do not forsake my teaching. For I was too a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me, and he said to me, take hold of my words with all your heart. Keep my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. And the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it costs you all you have, get the understanding of it. So I want to talk about conform patterns. And I want to use an illustration of one scenario for me when I was touring in life with a well-known playwright. I won't mention his name for quality control. Quality control means I won't say their name so no lawsuits can come about. So, but anyway, my testimony is I was conformed to doing a certain diminished chord. Some of the best musicians in the world, the best actors in the world were involved in the situation. But I had been so conformed to a certain way of playing chords that I almost lost the job. And in that one scenario, I had to learn, I had to break away from. I've been playing for 30 years. I had to walk away from, I got this, and I had to transform my mind and learn the scale the way the music director wanted to go for the music. So as a body of believers, I want to talk about not being conformed to patterns. I'm here to encourage you today that you can transform from being abandoned, being rejected, not having a stable father or mother, parentless, cheated on, lied, adultery, abused, molested, divorced, unhugged, lonely. There is transformation available for you. And I just stopped by to say that the best way to start a new beginning is to go to the Word. Best way to start a new beginning is to go to the Word. I love social media. I love other things. I think it's a great platform to do what you have to do, but I also know that it's a platform that also destroys the works of us as believers because we become dependent upon what someone else has said. I'm a product of 51 years of what someone else has said. And I can't find, it's like this side is a big stack of books, a big stack here, then there's one book right here. All those stacks pull from the one book. It has value. It can encourage you in a time when you're going through something. But I found out after 56 years of living that the only thing holding Fitz is the Word. When trouble comes my way, it's only the Word that's holding me. When I get frustrated or stressed, it's the Word that holds me. When I get the Word, I want to quit and give up. It's the Word that pops in my belly and says, be not weary in well doing. If you don't quit, you don't stop, you shall reap the intended harvest. If you just don't quit. And we get frustrated. Who gets frustrated at times? Who gets frustrated? We all do, right? And that's a cool thing. It's okay. And the next thing I want to talk about is that we have to reprogram, reboot, and erase the conformed patterns. Our new operating system must go back to the Bible and what it says. We can no longer depend upon what somebody said. We can't depend upon the pastors like we have in the past. Most of us have been trained up through various sources in life that if the pastor don't give the word, that I have nothing to stand on. You do have something to stand on because it's not his complete responsibility. And I'm speaking on behalf of seeing a dysfunction in the earth where the pastor takes on so much. And after he takes on so much, the first thing the body does is they complain and they fuss. So I'm here today to say we can have a new beginning. But first thing we have to do, it's the first step. We must re-examine the vision. If you don't know what the vision is, go to the website and find the vision is. And in that vision, it's your responsibility to find every scripture. Every scripture. Study it, get a concordance, Google, do whatever you got to do to find out how to fit what God has said inside this vision. Without doing that, you're stuck with a whole lot of different things. And before Pastor Reed can even go forth in a great way, we have to re-examine it. We have to re-examine, what do you really believe? Now, don't take what I'm saying as negative. What do you really believe about this Bible? And what I found, this is not negative, just hear my heart. Everyone has a right to believe what you believe, right? It's your choice to believe. But we all have been a part of different belief systems. I have been through Methodist, I've been through Kojic, I've been through Baptist, I've been through fire baptized, AME Zion, you name all the denominations. And I was able to survive all of it and find a common purpose to win in all of it. So what we have to do is sit down as believers as a body and start a new conversation. And you got to start sharing what you believe and what you feel, because most people will leave because of a belief. When something doesn't go the way that we want it to go, we end up leaving. But I'm here to say today that regardless of where you leave or stay, the mission doesn't change. The purpose does not change. You can go where there's better music. I've been told the music, can I say it? It's not good here. I've been told that since I've been here. I've been told that I don't like the way Pastor Hall preaches. I've been told all sorts of things since I've been at 180. But I had to choose to stay. And I stayed because the love in my heart for you and for the mission and the purpose. Because no matter whether I was in mega ministry, there's still chaos behind the scenes. There's still turmoil. There's still trouble. There's healing still needed. There's still poor. There's still unloved. There's still unhugged. It's still there. So no matter if I go to the church down the street, it's the same problem. So I decided to stick it out and be the best Fitz I could be in here. That makes sense?
Yes.
Amen. That was my choice. So I made that. So we're going to re-examine what we believe. That's a positive thing. Don't be moved by, I was raised this way, I was raised that way. That's not a bad thing, but it's what you went through. I'm not going to paralyze you for what you believe. Let's talk. Let's examine. Let's find a way to agree to keep doing the work. Okay?
Yes.
Here's point number one I make. Don't let what happened to you and your past actions define a new beginning in our future behavior. Don't let what happened to you and your past actions define your future behavior. The next step is we have a choice to change our mind. It starts here. You have to transform this. You have to Study to show yourself approved, rightly dividing this word of truth. Without studying and digging for yourself, the only thing you hinged on is what you read from a post. And I'm not picking on anybody. This is for all of us. This is for me to do. But you can't hinge the work of the body on a post or anything like that, or from something. You have to base it upon what does it say in this book. You need to study it historically. You need to go back and re-examine who said what, when they said it, what were they going through when they quoted it. How does it really line up? Who lied? Who didn't tell the whole truth in those other books? And once you discover that, you'll find out that truth is truth. It says, you shall know the truth and it shall make you free. Today I'm freer than I've ever been in my life. You know why I'm free? I have just as many issues, just as many problems, but I'm free because of what I know. Amen? Amen. Okay, the next step is it involves a risk. You have to take a risk. I've always done it like this. My mama did it like this. My granddaddy did it like this. I'm not saying that's bad. But are you willing to take the risk of a new choice and a new decision? Are you really willing to risk not being as popular as you were? I'm a victim of being rejected. I've been rejected because of the gift in me, because of who I was. I was molested by family. I don't mind. I'm just going to just tell it. There was a lot went on in my life as a child. But I found out that in order for me to change, I had to change my mind. I had to take a risk. I had to take a risk of trying to do a new thing in my mind, walk away from what happened. And when I went to the Word, I found something out. I kept saying, why does my family not like me? So I read something in Solomon that says, if a man is jealous of you, he will utterly despise you. You know what despise means? I don't care what you give me. I take all your money. I'll receive it, bikes, gifts, and everything. But I can't stand you. But yet you're giving all you got, all you have, everything that you've been blessed with, trying to be friends and be accepted. And when I found out that my family was jealous of me, I said, God, I gave you my bike, I gave you my this, that, and the other. Why? And I found they were jealous. Jealous of something that they formed in their mind that did not exist about me. I'm not a mean guy. I'm kind and affectionate, loving. But until I read that word, until I dug for it, that's when my healing took place. Okay? The next step is you have to risk being exposed by what you don't know. And the solution to that is to get an understanding about it. Get some wise counsel from someone who has been stable and has years of experience. You have to ask questions. I know it's tough sometimes exposing what you've been through, what you're going through, but it's so vital now for us to heal, move forward. The Word says, confess your faults, not just to anybody, but those who you trust and believe in. Your faults one with each another, that you what? That you will be healed. So then the effectual fervent prayer of those of us who are trying to do right, it avail much in here. Y'all didn't even know that I was in great travail when I came here. Music business stole all my songs, and because I did business in a bad way, I was trusting and gave it away. Victim of divorce. This thing's not the way they are. But I wrote a song called I Need You and You Need Me. I found strength and vision in a robbery through theater, and that there's hope. I found hope in Cliff. Cliff would encourage me when things were just troubling. I found hope from your smiles. I found hopes and laughter through Tater and Stacy. And then I found correction. Now, love is correction in Jay Nichols and Cindy. And I found correction in Alex. And I found correction in Randy and Jennifer. And I embraced it. It brought me healing. Are you hearing me? It's because I stuck it out and I didn't run to something else, because what did you bring from somewhere else that you didn't fix when you were over there? It's the same problem. So before you move, figure it out. Ask somebody to get an understanding. I read Proverbs earlier. Don't be conformed to that pattern, but transform your mind and what you think. Okay, you got to turn from what's always been wrong and become the solution to the conflict or problem. Have you ever been a part of the walls where it's like everybody complains about everything? Am I just only one that experienced that? You know, and whether you mean to do it or don't mean to do it, it happens. But the best way to solve that problem is to become the solution. I learned something working in a park. I worked Lineberger Park, and until I was the one picking the paper up, I didn't value what it was to throw trash on the ground. When I would see people who would say, oh, the trash man out there, ain't gonna worry about it. Boo, trash can right there. So what am I saying? Stacy cleans up. If I see paper on the floor in the bathroom, I'm gonna pick it up. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. And so we got to turn from what's not right and fix it by becoming a solution. There is an answer inside all these walls for anything you need in here. I'm convinced that there's enough in here that I can get anything I need in these walls. It's here. It's here through what you know. I can get it. I can get anything I want here. I don't have to go back to Mega Fest. I don't have to go back over there. I don't have to. It's right here. Okay? Okay, next step is whatever you do, make sure it's established through understanding and taking planning action through the word only. We have to go back to that. Not saying no one's been doing that, but I have to make it aware that we have to do that. What does the word really say about it? You have to dig for that. You have to dig for it. I had to dig for things I didn't understand. So, Father, I don't understand. Why am I suffering? Why am I going through this health issue? And the answer came. He said, you're not doing Genesis 1. I said, huh? He said, you don't eat enough plants, seed-bearing plants. So I started a new journey. The word, it was in the word the whole time. Plants, vegetables. I'm a meat eater. I ate so much meat, gout set in, high blood pressure set in. You know what I'm saying? The answer was there the whole time. So establish whatever you're going to do, your thoughts in the word. The next step is what you don't like, continue to be the solution. Press when others stop. And the best way to handle pressing when no one else shows up, you have to read something that says, do whatever you do it heartily as unto God. If you don't do it heartily as unto Him, you can't do it when you look and see someone else is not doing what they're supposed to do. It's hard to press because your focus is on what someone hasn't done. I served a mega ministry as a musician. I served as an audio engineer. I pick paper up, I change batteries, I run carts, I move equipment, I set things up as if I had never done music at all. I just served, I just went for it. I picked paper up when I saw it, I even wiped down the desk, and I'm not putting Fitz on a platform. This is how he works through us as a body. You have to press even when others stop, and do it as unto Him. Now the next step is, inside the walls, don't expect everybody to always know what you're talking about. People process things in a different way. I have to embrace today that some of you may not process what I'm saying in the way that I'm saying it. So the best way to handle this is to pull me by the wayside. I'm so global. You can get me through text. You can get me through websites. You can get me through anyway. You Google me, you won't find me in a red suit or orange suit. But you can get me. I might be able to take the time to get to you, but ask. Just ask. Just ask, and it'll be given unto you. That's the step. My next question I want to raise: if there was no building, what would you do? If there was no building to go to, would you stop? Would you stop? Will you still feed the poor? Will you still go after the unloved? Will you still look at the rejected? Will you still look after the orphans? You know we have a lot of orphans in life. We think orphans mean that the father and the mother's dead. Orphan means anybody who's been abandoned. You are an orphan. And it says in James, this is one place that I will honor if you'll do it, is to look after the widows and look after the orphans. You got to do the work regardless of how it looks. The work still has to be done in order for all things to become new and do new things in God here. I want to have a couple bullet points I want to make, is that we must be penitent. We live in a time where people aren't sorry for what they do. They don't have no remorse for their actions. They don't take no, this morning, Alex, might use you for a second. This morning, as small as it may seem, I apologized to Alex this week because this week Alex was trying to reach me and I had so much going on I was being pulled from. But the point is, I said out of my mouth, I'm going to call you back in an hour, 2 hours. So the word corrected me. It says, let my yea be yea, let my nay be nay. If I couldn't call him back, I need to say, man, I'm on my way to get to you. So I messed up, so I came to him. He said, man, it don't matter. I said, yes, it does matter. Because he could have been having a moment that my phone call would have helped him through something. Do you receive what I'm saying right there? It was just that simple to say that because I have respect for him. I have honor for him for who he is in my life. So I had to apologize for that. Also, let's be ready to be used by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Be ready. Be ready. We got to be ye ready because there are people going to come through these doors. They don't look like you. They don't believe like you. They don't process like you. They don't smell like you. They've been through something that's unfathomable. They've been done wrong. They've been treated a bad hand. And they are in a space. They don't worship the way we worship. There's a lot of things they don't do. So we have to be willing to embrace that. I had a situation that happened here. Pastor Paul was away. I've never told this because I do as unto him. It's not about Fitz, but I'm using an example today. There was a homeless person that came to here while we were having some function. I was out there in the hallway. And when that happens, the first thing I'm always led to do is to always seek the authority, the protocol of how it is. I never disrespect that. I respect all offices. So I contacted the pastor, and he was away. There was a time during his phone had issues. And so he texted and said, Fitz, pray. Here's one resource that I have. They may be full, but contact it. So I contacted that resource. They were so full, couldn't get in touch with nobody. I called numbers. I called salvation. I called everybody. And the whole time, this person was venting. They were talking about what had happened to them, this, that, and the other. And I had to listen to them. And if you listen to a person's story, there's something you're going to find. You're going to hear their struggle. But you're also going to hear the mistake. She said one thing that let me know where our struggle was. That was my woman at the well. So I gave her living water and I spoke a word of encouragement. I said, I feel for you. I know this is rough, this is tough. I said, everything is shut down. They're not answering the phones. So I prayed and the Father said, do not be moved by what you smell. You got enough money in your pocket. Go be responsible. Go get them a room. But she was a female. Guess what else I had to do? I had to take a witness with me because I didn't want to be held responsible if they cried rape or if they cried I abused them or I did something to them. I had to have a witness. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So you got to be ready. You got to be ready for when two people of the same sex come in. I have to be ready. And the only way to be ready for it is through God's love, through His understanding. You have to read. The answers are there. They are in there. It'll tell you exactly what to do. I know it's tough sometimes. You've got to read. Also, we have to be insatiable. Insatiable means have an appetite for Him that's impossible to be satisfied by anything else but Him. You've got to have that appetite. Have an appetite. My closing remarks are this. I have so much to say, so much in my heart, but I want to keep it here today that we can start a new beginning. Number one, you can't wait until every I is dotted and every T is crossed before you do something. You may not be free in some areas in your life, but what you have survived already and making it through is the fuel and healing for someone else in here and out there. You see what I'm saying? You can't wait. You can't wait until it's all right. It doesn't work that way. You have to walk from the place that you are and be that blessing to someone in that space. The next thing is, don't let something you're not good at paralyze everybody because you're too embarrassed to ask. In order to have a new beginning here, you're going to have to ask. There are things I've been playing 50 years of my life, and I came here and I still had stuff to learn. Y'all hear me? I still had to learn some new things because I had to conform patterns. It's been a blessing. Okay? Got me? And also, don't let what you're good at paralyze everybody either. McDonald's do it well. Chick-fil-A does it well. Walmart does it well. You know what they do well? They clone themselves. It's the same thing everywhere. It might be off in some place because the service might be bad in one place, but they got the idea right. That's all the Messiah said do. He said for us to go ye, make disciples and teach each other, help each other, and clone his spirit of goodness, his spirit of how he does things, and duplicate it in the earth. Duplicate it here, duplicate it out there. Now, my next statement I'll make is, be careful, don't let religious quotes, slogans, statements take the place of the word. I've been guilty of leaning on statements and things. They have their value. I know some of them pull from the Bible, but my point is, don't let it take the place of reading. You know we live in a time where it's given to me right away. Nobody wants to work for it. We want the paycheck. If you notice around you, when you go places now, has customer service fallen off? Yes. Has love fallen off? Yes. Well, the word will tell you, there will be a serious falling away. It says you'll have itchy ears, that you'll be blown by everything somebody says. Today, don't be blown by what I say. Go to the word. I'm based upon the scripture. Please go read it. Please go read it. I encourage you to do it. Don't be blown away by all that. Be the difference. If you read and walk in the Spirit, you can walk to a register and the Holy Spirit will come to you and tell you what to say in that moment to that person that registered had a bad day. I walked up on people talking, and I can't stand Walmart, man, they make me sick, and out of a room, and I said, that whole time these two people were talking, they didn't ask me I need help. Now inside, I was mad. I was ready, man, y'all better help me, but because of what I read, that word that I hid in my heart, it crept up and said, these two young people going through something. So I let them talk, and I said to them, I said, guys, y'all on camera? This is not your stopping ground. I said, can you not see yourself having your own business? Why don't you learn from what you see here? Why don't you learn the business of it and create your own space, create your own destiny? But while you're here, do the best you can. Don't let that mark be an issue. I said, you're in a curse. I said, evil communication corrupts good manners. I said, you just don't do that. You got promise. You got hope. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. It's okay. You know, make plans to do something else if you don't like it. But while you're here, you got a responsibility to uphold the rules. So what am I saying? As believers inside this world, because we have confessed who is Lord in our life, we always confess it, right? We're there, right? We have a responsibility to uphold his rules. Everybody understand? Make sense? Okay. Let's be careful about the spirit of criticism. In order for a new beginning, if you got criticism in your heart, you need to start talking to somebody. I've seen the worst dysfunction and criticism ever in my life. It's always hurt me. It's made me sick the entire time. But I had to realize that people are just people. But here, for a new beginning, try not to criticize. Try not to look at what other pastors are doing in the earth. Try not to embrace the dysfunction that you read off the time in media about what they are, who they are. Pray for them. Break away from that and just pray. And keep doing what you're supposed to do. Don't let that stop you. One of my last thoughts that I want to leave with you today as we start our new transformation, moving from conformed patterns. I didn't mention some of the patterns because it's not necessary at this point. But here's something that I want to leave with you today. there should be enough belief in these seats that we can conquer anything and do anything through the Master in this world. I don't care what has happened to you. There is hope inside your heart, inside your frustration, inside your disaster, inside what you didn't get right, regardless of what anybody did. There is hope in here. There's enough belief in here to make it through anything. Nobody should drown in here. Have you not read where it says that the needs of the saints were always taken care of? You know why? My parents, I watched my dad look after the poor, the orphan. That's where I got it from, because he had read something that taught that. Nobody drowned in my neighborhood coming up. I was in a hood. There was cutting, there was shooting, there was all kind of stuff. There was sex, there was drugs, there was everything. Even though we were in a brick home, even though Dad had worked hard and my mom had went through dangerous toils and snares, she couldn't teach in her hometown because of the color of her skin, but not once did my parents bring that up. They had a relationship with the living and true Almighty God. So they became the solution in the neighborhood. They helped the father. And you know what I found out through all that right there? That when a father is missing in somebody's life, something happened to that man that was never dealt with. It was never resolved in church. It was never resolved in the walls. And here's one big problem. Nobody asked, what happened to you? And my dad asked one of the men in the neighborhood, why are you throwing away in alcohol? Why are you touching your wife like that? And the man said, my dad abused my mama. He beat me. And he was a drunkard. And I don't know no better way. Nobody told me. Nobody said nothing. Nobody cared enough to say something. And we can't worry about whether a person changes right away. Offer what you can in the moment. Give what you have heard through your ears since you've been here in these walls. Sacrifice what you can sacrifice and let Him who is able to do far exceedingly above that which can ask handle the rest. And we will have good success in our new beginnings. Pastor Reed will be coming back in a couple weeks, and he said something to us that's very valuable. You know what he said to us? I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you. And I said it earlier, what do you believe? Because he's already faced the giants of life. He's been here. He told us I've been from church to church because of his assignment. He already told us that, right? So what does that say? That says there's been a lot. In order for him to have a new beginning with us, we have to tell him where we are and what we know and start the process of believing the same thing. If we can do the work, we got to believe the same thing. I love you guys so much. And this is just part one of a new beginning. I don't want to throw so much at you. It's a whole lot to throw, but today, here are the points. Be not conformed to patterns that don't work, but start changing how you think. Thank you, Jay, for helping me change the way I think some areas of my life. Amen? Amen. That's right. You did that for me. Thank you, Cindy, for doing that for me. Stacy and all of you are here. Guys, I love you so much. And I'm going to do something different. Anybody got a question? You want to ask a question, or you just okay? You want to stick on those things and go away and be okay? Anybody have a need here today? Prayer? Anybody need anything?
Pray for guidance.
Who?
Guidance.
Pray for guidance.
The guidance. Yes. That's right. Through my history of life, I've found some things out. Don't know everything, still tweaking. But our guidance will really come in the Spirit. And the only way to get in the Spirit is that we have to continue to read. We can't brush it off. It can't just sit in the corner anymore. I had a phase in my life where I was living off old milk. I lived off of what I heard years ago, and I had to go back and start studying the way I'm supposed to. I've had to go back, look at the book, go back, examine, in order to be able to even survive here at Church 180, to not be moved by, man, I'll give you this here if you just come, if you leave, while you're over there. All that stuff right there, I had to read. So I will pray. Father, the giver of life,